All right, hi guys. Hope you're all doing well. So, first assignment for next week, which is week 2. Um, if you go in Moodle, I'll just talk a little bit about the assignment before we actually show stuff. So, week 2 characterization and Mixamo. So, what I'm going to be asking you guys to do is download character from Sketchfab, process it through Maya, upload it to Mixamo, and then bring it into Motionbuilder, characterize it, and apply two mockup files from Mixamo on it. It sounds like a lot, but don't worry about it. We'll go through step by step. So what am I expecting for this assignment, which is due the Wednesday at midnight. Sorry, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday morning. So Wednesday, the day of, should be submitted. If you're late 1 week, we didn't talk about this during class. If you're late 1 week, it's 20%. So just pay attention to the dates on that. Okay, so what we're looking for, I'll explain a little bit what is a character in Motionbuilder. So like I mentioned in the overview last week, so a character consists of the skin, the joints, which deform the skin, right? And then on top of the joints is the control rig, right? So we activate it. So now the control rig moves the joints. So that's the gist of it, the basics of it, right? But before we jump, I would like to explain a little bit what you should be looking for. So Mixamo, when you download the character from Mixamo, it already has a good setup. But if later on you decide to use a character from Sketchfab that already has joints in it, be careful of the joint placement. Like this one here, this character has some really bad joint placement. So pay attention to that. See here, like the pelvis should not be that back. It should be more centered, and the spine should not be back too. So for later when you're building the previous, please pay attention to this kind of stuff. This is bad joint placement. Okay. Also, don't care too much about the facial. If you download the character with facial bones, you can disregard them. You don't need them. Also, feet placement is very important. This one is not bad. Like it only has one, right? So it's not bad. It deforms well. So just be careful of the skeleton that you use. Okay. So I'm gonna start a new scene, and the first step is you go to Sketchfab. That's probably gonna be our main source, and you just need an account to download. All right, sorry about that. So all you need is an account with Sketchfab. You can use your Facebook account or Google, doesn't really matter. So log in, because you need the login to download stuff. And I would, for now, you can use um, the same mesh I'm gonna download. So I always use this because I always use this character because I want to show you guys what the file will look like when you download it. Let me see. I think it's Venom female. Okay, maybe he took it out. Let's try this guy. So what you're looking for is if it has this button. If it has a $sign attached to it, uh, don't use those. There's a lot of free stuff in there. You just need to find it. So I'm gonna try this one. You're looking for a mesh, ideally with a T-pose as much as possible. So see here, this one is an A-pose. I don't recommend it because Motionbuilder will complain about it. So go with a T-pose. It's a lot better. Okay. So let's try this one. Let's see what the format is. The format you're looking for is either an FBX or an OBG. Okay. So that's the file we need. So if you click here, download, we have an FBX, which is perfect. So let's download and see what it looks like. Okay, so it's gonna go to my downloads folder. So right now, I want to explain something about your work on the hard drive. Please do not work on C, especially if you're in the lab. C is, we had some problems last semester. It was always filling up. So please do not work on C. Work on the other drive. It should be D, I believe should be D. Mine is B. I renamed it by mistake. So please work on D. So set up your folder structure on D. So if you go in D and create, let's say, winter 22 and then technique. Okay, so that should be your class. And then in here, we create, what I want to show you now is a folder structure that you need to follow because when you start building your previs, it's really important to be organized. If you're not organized, you're going to have to deal with a lot of files, so it's going to get really messy. So please do the folder structure that I'm doing now. It's highly recommended. So what we can do, let's say for the downloads, we create a downloads folder, so you know it's coming from the net. Downloads. So I take the Venom and I put it in here. So this way, you know, your course, your download folder is here. So we create the file and then we extract it. We need to extract it to see the folder, what's in the zip file. If you download a file which with an extension of .rar, it's like another zip file. It's but you need a program installed called WinRAR. Okay, so this is the program that can open the .rar file. So just download this and install it if it's not a .zip file. So we go in Venom. We just extracted the zip file. Extract, right? Extract. Or you could have just opened it like this and dragged and dropped the files. So let's see what's in that folder. So if you go in source, there's another zip file. So we need to unzip that as well. Let's do extract here. We will dump all the files. Okay, good. So we have a FBX file. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So we have a bunch of other ones. We have a Blender file. We have Max file, 3D Studio Max. The only one we're concerned about is the FBX. So let's drag and drop this one into Motionbuilder. Let's see what it looks like. File open, no animation. And as you can see, we have a character, but he's very small, okay? And what do we have in this file? So if we want to check out the contents of the file, I should turn on the, yeah, let's do that. So by default, I'm using some keyboard shortcuts. So I'm gonna use this program so you guys can see at least why. Okay, I understand. Okay, so I'm using this program so you guys can read my keyboard shortcuts. Okay, it would help. Working with the viewport are these buttons here: the zoom, the pan, and the rotate. But if you hold down Control Shift, you can rotate around the object. So I want to see what's in this file. First, you don't need this. You don't need this. So let's open up the scene, and let's check out what do we have. So we have the mesh. We have the tongue. Tongue we don't need. Okay, we might be able to merge all those in Maya. And the teeth. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's just a mesh. See, there's no joints. There's no anything else. Okay. So what we're going to do in Maya, we're going to import this in Maya and adjust the scale, because as you can see, if I go in front view, perspective, orthographic, front view, as you can see, these are centimeters. So this is 100 centimeter, which is 1 meter, and he's really, really tiny. Okay. By the way, Motionbuilder is Y up. So we will need to be the same in Maya. Okay. So let's jump in Maya. Just want to see if there's a Maya file. No, there's no Maya file. So I'm sure you have Maya 2022 installed as well. So I would open that up and merge in the same FBX file. Okay. Sorry, before you do that, let's make sure we're in Y up and we're in centimeters. Okay. So Motionbuilder is Y up, Maya is Y up. The way to do this, if you're in Z up, be careful with if your animation class in Z up. You will need probably to switch back and forth. Okay, so if you open an animation like say the bouncing ball and it's all upside down, you just need to switch it in here in settings. Okay, so you open this little gear icon here, you go in settings, and then you switch it. So it's already switched in mine. So if it was Z up, you just need to switch to Y up, and make sure you're in centimeters as well, please. Okay, because Motionbuilder by default is centimeters. Okay, then we click Save. So now we're ready to import the FBX. Just drag and drop. And hopefully the textures are imported. So if in the top menu of the viewport, you click on texture, yes, we have them. Good. So text we don't need. We can delete these. And we have all the meshes. Oops. Okay, so if you cannot rotate around the selected object, just press home on your keyboard, then press F and everything will be fine. Okay. We don't need the tongue. These, yeah, it's okay, we don't need them because we're not going to animate the jaw, so these won't go up and down. We can make the scene a bit lighter, right? So the gums and the teeth, yes, we can keep, it's okay. So what do? We can combine this into one mesh to make Mixamo, to make it a little bit easier on Mixamo, okay? So what do? We select all three meshes, and then we go to mesh. Oh, I should be in modeling standard, mesh tool. There should be a combine or connect or something like that. Combine with option. And sorry if a little slow modeling is not my forte, so we should be on more animation. So merge UV sets, merge by name. It's okay, keep everything by default. Let's see what happens. The pivot point, you want it to be centered. Let's go with centered, but we can adjust it after. It doesn't really matter. So if we go apply, it will create one mesh for us with the pivot point in the middle. Okay. So right now, if you notice, the mesh is in the ground, like it's below the grid. So what we want to do is we want to center it a little bit. So if you click spacebar and we go to the front view, you can clearly see that he's below. So we just need to raise him up, put his feet on the grid, right? Make sure his feet are flat. And then we need to figure out the scale. Okay, so if you import a character here and the scale is like really tiny, the best way to figure out the measurement, how tall this guy is create a box in polygon modeling, create a box, and put it on top of his head, okay? And then you go to channel box, which should be this. Where is channel? Oh, I lost the tabs because, okay, I'm gonna switch back to animation. So there's my channel box. Oops. Don't worry, the textures didn't disappear. They're just, each viewport has its own setting, okay? So now I'm in channel box. If I go in channel box, you will see, are we in centimeters? I believe we should be. Yeah, we're in centimeters. So if you look here in channel box, you will see that this character is 10 centimeters tall, which doesn't really make sense. Okay, so it has to be at least 200. So I'm gonna go with 200 for 2 meters, and you will see where that box ends up. Okay, so he's this small. That's the same size we were seeing in Motionbuilder, right? So just give me a sec. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to scale the mesh to match the two meters, right? So we need select the mesh, we select the scale, and we scale them up. Scale with, don't scale like this. You use the, I believe, no, not this one, not even this one, hold on. I believe we need to scale with this middle one. Or you can type it in here, right? So we can do this as well. If we put 200, let's see what happens. Might be too much. Where's that box? We went too far. So let's say 20 maybe. I think it's 20%. Yeah, it was just 10%. And box. So okay, let's not be too I mean, we can bring it down to 200 meters exact. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea. Okay, so roughly 200 meters, 200 centimeters, apologize. He's a little bit off the grid here, so we could just bring him down a little bit. Okay, and we double check the cube. Okay, he's at 200. We delete the cube. We don't need it anymore. Actually, just keep it for a little bit because we need to do an operation here. We need to delete the history that we just did, like the combining and we need to zero out the scale too before we send it to Sketchfab. Oh, why is the scale 18? Yeah, be careful with the scale. If you type it in, you need to keep the scale uniform, okay? Okay, with the scale, it moved him a little bit, so I'm just going to make him flat on the grid. The reason I'm making it flat on the grid is when Mixamo creates the skeleton, it needs to be on the and it's also better for you. The joints will be flat on the grid. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah, now he's a little bit taller. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now we need to clean up kind of the mesh. Okay, so we need to zero out the translation and the scale. The scale is really important. We cannot upload to Mixamo with these numbers. Okay, so what do we do? Well, first, let's save the Maya scene. As you remember, we saved it on D, in my case B. So I'm going to create a folder here called characters, okay? So these characters are all the characters we're going to create in T-pose, okay? So we're going to call this guy Venom. Underscore Maya, so we know it's going to be a Maya extension, so you understand it, but it's better when you just read the description that you know this file is a Maya file, right? And we click save, just in case Maya decides to crash, so this way at least we don't lose all the work. Okay, so I'm gonna check where's the history. I believe edit, delete type. Yeah. Okay, so we saved it. Sorry, I apologize. This step, I'm not 100% sure what it's going to do. I haven't used it in a long time. So if you go and edit, so what we're trying to do, we're trying to delete all this history. We need to delete this. So go delete all by type history. And let's see what it does. Okay, sounds like we're still okay. So now we need to reset the scale of the reset the scale and the translation. So if you go in modify and click on freeze transformation option, so here you can freeze translation, rotation, or scale. Just keep everything on and let's see what happens. Freeze. Okay, good. So what we just did is we told the mesh, at this scale, I want you to be 1. So this way, everything is reset. Okay. We need to be at 1 and zeros before we upload to Mixamo. Okay, so now we're ready to send this to Mixamo. So how do we do this? We need to export it as an FBX. Okay. So you select the mesh. We select the mesh. We go File, Export, Selection. Export select, choose a file type. If you don't have the FBX, you will need to check if it's loaded in the plugins. Okay, it should be loaded, but just in case, I forgot what it was. I think Windows General Editors. Settings maybe. Okay, yeah, this is it here. Plugin Manager. Okay, so Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. And if you type here FBX, you should have these two and these. Load these two as well. I'm not sure. I think this is the one we need. So if they don't have a check mark here, check it on and then reload Maya. So File, Export, Selection, choose FBX. We go to, I highly recommend doing a shortcut. So if you just drag and drop your folder here, now it's available all the time here. Okay. So in characters, call it, sorry, Venom. FBX from Maya. You'll understand why in a little bit why I'm calling it like this, because you're going to get another FBX from Mixamo. Okay, so file type FBX, the name, and I need you to go through some of these settings here. Okay, the most important one in here in advanced option, in should be collapsed like this. In axis, make sure we're in Z up. Wait a second. Okay, they changed maybe. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry, not in Z up. Y up. Okay. And the FBX file format, yeah, the reason I changed it, I think it used to be ZUp, and then they changed it in 2022. It's possible. That's why I was double checking what it was. I apologize for that little hiccup. Okay, so keep it up axis Y up. Version, I think 2018 should be fine. Let's try it. And then let's export. So now if we go in our folder, characters, we have the Maya file and we have the Venom Maya file, sorry, the FBX file. So this file is the file we're going to export to Mixamo. We go to Mixamo. And again, you'll need to log in. Use your Adobe file, Adobe login, or you can use Facebook. I'm using Facebook for both Sketchfab or Mixamo. It's up to you. Okay, and then we do upload, and we drag and drop the FBX. Take a couple of seconds. Okay, see here, it didn't take the textures for some reason. Okay, so I need to go back in Maya and choose an older version of the FBX. It's okay. I knew this was going to happen. So let's go with 2012. It's okay. I think the problem is Mixamo hasn't kept up with the FBX files, FBX formats, and all the new ones. There's a bit of a problem with the format, so they don't take all the formats. This one gonna work. No. We have to go even older. Okay, maybe we might have lost the textures. I'll choose the oldest one, but if it's still a problem, we can fix it. I'll choose the oldest one. Okay. Am I exporting the geometry? Let's check the textures. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I think I know what's going on. I forgot one. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while. Where is it? Include option. Sorry, there's okay, I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot that little option here. So it wasn't the format, it was the embed media. What is embed media is it includes the textures in the FBX. So think of it as, right now we were exporting the FBX without any textures. On the export, if you go in here, embed media, it's right above the units or advanced option. And you need to check this on, embed media. So everything related to textures, videos is considered media, so it embeds it in the FBX. Okay, so keep it at 2018, or 2012. It's okay, go with 2012, and make sure you have this on. Okay, and then you export selection. So now it should work. Fingers crossed. Sorry, there's a lot of small steps that if you don't do it often, you kind of forget. Even though the textures wasn't show up in Mixamo, there was another way we could have resolved it in Motionbuilder. Okay, cool. So now we're ready to go next. You know the drill. You need to put these nodes. So this one is left, and this one is right. Just be careful which one you choose. It's always the right of the character, not the screen right or left. So think of you in that pose, and then you'll find out which side it is. Right elbow, right knee, good, and groin. Keep everything else by default. There's a bunch of options here, but we don't really care at this point. Next. Takes a couple of seconds. We can save the Maya scene. I think it saves the FBX settings. It saves it with it. Cool. Good. He looks creepy. All right. Awesome. So we have our character in Mixamo. So now we're ready to download this to Motionbuilder. So you click download. Go with T-pose, please, and FBX binary. That's good. So now I go to my downloads. I move the folder to my working folder. I'm gonna put them in downloads because it is a download, so we need to stay consistent. I'll do another folder here called Mixamo, and I'll paste them in here. Okay. So this way you know that it's coming from Mixamo as well. Okay, so now we're ready to go to Motionbuilder. We're Motionbuilder ready. So we drag and drop this FBX. File open, Alt X. There's no animation, so you can go animation. Or go Alt X, it's okay. Go Alt X. Okay, see now he's in the good size. So if you go in schematic view, or sorry, orthographic view in the front, see now he's exactly 200 centimeters. So our scale is back to normal. Perspective, produce perspective. So look at the difference in the joints. See now the Mixamo does a really good job of just putting proper placement of joints. Okay, it does a best job as best as it could. It even put fingers sometimes. Some of the meshes you'll find, if the fingers like are too close or weirdly modeled, it won't recognize it. So this one is not bad actually. Okay, so now we have this file. We can save it. We can save a Motionbuilder file. So I want to go to excuse me. Make sure I'm in B, my file, characters. So here I can do Venom Motionbuilder, or Mobu for short. So this way I know, okay, this is the Venom that I saved in Motionbuilder. You could check embed media. It's on by default. Keep it. It's okay. So we're saving it with one take, which is the Mixamo take, which is the T-pose. Okay, so now how do we turn this into a character? So if you go in templates, characters, in the asset browser right here, and you drag and drop, because we can't activate a control rig without doing this step. We need to do this step, okay? So we drag and drop a character, and as you can see, this character is called character because this is the default name. And like I showed you in the viewport, in the overview, if you go in Navigator and in the character section, you can rename this to Venom. And now it's representative here. Because this is really important, guys. Once when you're building your idea in the last few weeks, you're going to have multiple characters. So it's going to be easier for you to recognize which character are you have selected here, because you can only have one selected character at a time, right? So this is really important. Okay, so now this character is, if you, by default, it puts you in definition. All this character is empty. There's no bones associated with this character. Okay, so we need to manually add these bones. Okay, the first step, I'm gonna freeze the mesh so I don't keep selecting it every time. So if I go in groups, create a group, and call this Venom Skin. I'll deactivate the picking and the translation so I don't move him by mistake. And you can also hide him if you want. And then I'm ready to start adding those bones, those joints to the character. Okay, so I'll start with the hips. Actually, yeah, I missed one small step. So if you can, Mixamo, the first joint in the hierarchy, I'll show you what the hierarchy looks like. Actually, I'll show you the schematic view. So if you go in View, Schematic, you will see what the contents of this file. Okay, and this is the hierarchy that you see. You see the hips at the top, right? And then you have the spine, you have the legs. Inside the spine, you have the arms and the shoulders, and the neck and the head. The thing is, if you decide, I'm going to go back to perspective. If you decide to scale the character later on, let's say you're doing a character that transforms into a giant, it's better to have this bone part of the character. Okay, how do we do this? We need to add a node or an extra bone and make it parent of the hips. Okay, it's very easy. It's not that complicated. So the way to do this is you go in Elements, Templates, as a browser, templates, elements. This thing is okay. And then you go in null, see here, templates, elements, null, and you just drag and drop the null in the viewport. Okay. Thing is, we need to put this null at 0, 0. Okay. So if I select translation, right now it's in world space, so I just need to put it at 0. Oops. 0, 0 between his feet, obviously. And then I'm going to go back to schematic view and bring this null closer. And I need to make these joints part a child of this null. Okay. So way to do this is you hold down Alt, hold it, and then just drag and drop to the null, and you will get a small pop-up, and you just go parent. Okay. So now it changes the hierarchy. So now this null is controlling the whole character, the whole joint. Okay, because now the null is parent of all these joints, so you can move it independently, or altogether, I should say. Okay, so that's the only addition we need to add, and this is only if you're going to scale. So I recommend doing that in case you need it later, so you know it's done and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now we can add this null to our character definition. Okay, assign selected bone. You just need to select the bone, or the null in this case. You right-click, you select and right-click on the null in the character template, and you go assign. Now it turns green, see? And now we can do the hips, right? Same thing. I'm going to do left leg. Just be careful. You should be facing him, right? So don't make a mistake in assigning it like this, because there's a chance you might select the wrong bone. Okay, and you just keep going down the chain. The nice thing is Motionbuilder has a symmetry on, so if you're doing one side, it does the other side for you. And it works because the Mixamo bones are named properly for Motionbuilder. The toes we don't really need, but just in case Motionbuilder complains, we're going to add it. It's really off. As you can see, Mixamo is not great with toes. It should be in here, like at the, let me see actually how's the deformation. It's not that bad. It's not bad. Okay, the way to do the toes is beside the foot there's a little arrow. You just need to select it and go in it. Okay, now we can do the spine. Spine 1. If you're having difficulty selecting it, you can do Marquee Select. Just click and drag and select the bone. Be careful not to select more than one. Just do a little small marquee. Okay, I just want to make sure. Schematic. Yeah, spine 1. Sorry, spine 1, spine 2. Should be this one. if you wanna, when you wanna see the other spine bones, you just need to click this little guy. The same thing with the toes. So you see now, you see spine 1, spine 1, and spine 2. Now we're ready for the shoulders. Left shoulder. Shoulders, you need to go into the little arrow too. So left shoulder. Just want to make sure I selected the right side. And left arm. Okay, it's not this one. Be careful. You need to go back out. Don't assign this one. Be careful, because they put Motionbuilder. They put another bone just for extra deformation. So you need to go out and select this one instead. Okay. So this is the left arm. Left arm. Left arm. And we go down the chain. And the last one is the hand. Now we can do the fingers. It's nice to add fingers if you have time later for polish, and if you want to do some polish on your character, you want to add some poses, it's nice to add them. You can also choose, it's okay, we'll continue like this. You could select them easier in the schematic view. So like this, view, schematic, right? So now we're here. You can move the, so you don't confuse yourself with the right hand, right? And now we can continue with this. See, it's a single click in the schematic view. Continue with the middle one. Ring. Oops. Oh, I was on the right one. Little pinky. And this. Okay. All that is missing is the neck. The neck, you have to go into the little arrow. There's only one neck bone, I believe. Yeah, Mixamo doesn't do neck, head. Yeah, so only need these two bones. So neck, and then the head should be outside. Good. So you should have a check mark. If you have, so for this assignment, please use the same mesh. But later on, if you get like an orange exclamation point, we'll figure it out together. Sometimes Motionbuilder complains it's not a perfect T-pose. You can still bypass it. If you get a red with an X, there's something definitely wrong, so it won't pass the characterization. Okay, so now we're ready to add the control rig at this point. Okay, so what do? We lock this character definition, because it's called definition because we were defining which bones are in which slot of the character. So now we can lock it. So you see this little icon here called lock. Right now it's unlocked, so you need to lock it. It will ask you, do you want a biped character or quadruped? Go with biped, of course. We're not doing quadrupeds. And now we have a character. Whoops. messing up, right? Okay, if you're having difficulty with something like this and you want to reset your viewport, you go in Navigator, in Cameras, you double click on Perspective, and there's a reset button here, bottom right of that window. Okay, just go reset and it goes back to default. I don't know why it was messing up. I'm gonna save. So now this character, the Venom character, is being driven by the joint. If you remember in the overview, we need to activate the control rig. So you just need to drop down the source and tell it, okay, activate the control rig. And since there's no control rig yet, it will ask you, do you want an FKIK? You go yes. And we're ready to animate. You can test it a little bit with some poses, but that's not this assignment yet. You can just move the bones a little bit and see if everything is going well. Yeah, it's all good. You can move the hips. And you see this little node? This is the node we use for scale later, okay? So let's say, imagine you decide to scale them, 3 transforms, this is how you scale, okay? Okay, so now we're ready to add a couple of 2 animations. That's all I'm asking in the assignment, right? 2 takes of motion capture, motion from Mixamo, okay? Could be anything, that doesn't really matter. I just need to show you the process, okay? So if you go in animations, and let's say, I go run, jump, could be anything, right? Running, jumping. Yeah, let's say I like this. So I'll download this. I want to download this animation. Click download. FBX, yes, 30 frames with skin. I don't need the skin because I already have the skin in Motionbuilder. And key reduction, no. So I click download. So it's ready for me. I'm gonna download another one. If I want to preview it, I just delete the run jump to go back to T-pose. And let's say just run. Fast run. Sure. Why not? So Mixamo has some cool settings here. You can sometimes change like a few things, change the arm or change the speed. See, now it's really going Superman fast. So when you're building your previews, you can try to mess with these. Okay, so download, same thing, it saves your settings. Okay, so now we have a fast run. Can minimize it. So we have a fast run and run jump. So I'll copy those, I'll move those to downloads, Mixamo. I'm gonna animations, okay? This way I can separate the characters from the animations that I download, right? Because first we downloaded the character in T-pose, and now we're downloading animations. Okay, so how do we import these into our scene? The best way, the easiest way, uh, is we merge. Um, it's probably the best way to do it, the fastest way. Before we merge, though, I should show you this now. Yeah, so remember what I said. We need to keep the characters in T-pose separate from the animations, because if anything goes wrong, you can pull back in the characters, okay, without any animations. Let's say your animations, something goes wrong with the file, you don't want to lose the character in T-pose that you've set up, okay? So we save this guy in characters, Venom, mobile. Now, since we're importing animations, I want to save it as another file, okay? So I'm gonna save it in here, right? I'm gonna call this folder animations. It's different than the Mixamo one because this is what you're working with inside Motionbuilder. The difference with the other one folder is it's coming from Mixamo. So this way you separate them, okay? So animation, I'll call this, I'll name it the same because you need to upload to Moodle. Call it the same file as the assignment because I asked you to upload week 2 your name FBX. Okay, if you want to include the name of the week, it's optional, but you don't have to. So let's say week 2 my name let's say characterization J Nasrallah, and that's it. Okay, so now we have the character in T-pose in a separate folder, and we have the animations now in a new file. This way nothing can go wrong. Okay, if it does go wrong, you can always fall back on the file that's in the characters folder, right? So characters, Venom, mobile, and in downloads you have the animations that came in. Okay, so now I'm able to merge these animations inside Motionbuilder. We need to be in this. The source has to be in skeleton mode. Okay. The reason is if you open these two files that we just downloaded, I'll show you what they look like. They're basically joints animated. They don't have a control rig. They don't have anything. Okay. So we need to switch the source to skeleton before we import it. Okay. So let's do that first before we import it. So I'll open up the file that I just saved. And I switch my source to none. Okay. And then I'm ready to import, or merge, I should say. So if I choose the fast run and I just drag and drop it, you need to use merge. You cannot open, because if you open, you will just open the file, the skeleton joint. You will lose the Venom character. So you need to go merge, options, okay? In here, we need to change a couple of things. The way to do it is we need to change this column. Right now, it's the option to merge is you add a new skeleton. Instead, we need to actually be merging. Okay, so you right click on the top where it says element, and you select merge all elements. Okay, it's unfortunate it's not on by default, but that's how we need to work. Okay, so merge all, and then in here, right now the take that's incoming, it's called mixamo.com, so it's going to overwrite this. We don't want to overwrite the t-pose. We just want to change the name of the take that's coming in, which is the run fast. So we just need to change the name here. Okay, and just click merge. So change the options to merge and change the name of the take to run fast. Let's see what happens. So what just happened now is we still have our Mixamo t-pose, and remember the take in the overview last week? We have another take called run fast. Okay, look, he's running. If you go to front view, it's perfect. If you want to see it looping, it's this option here. Nice. We can merge the other one as well. So file, merge, or just drag and drop. Run jump, merge, option. Same thing, see it doesn't save the settings. So as soon as you see plus, that means it's not gonna work. So you need to change it to merge all. And I believe it was run jump. And we click merge. Cool. So now we have, again, another take because we just merge it as a different name. Run fast, run jump. And the t-pose. So now we're almost done. Now we need to, these animations are on the joints. So if we want to edit them on a layer like I showed you in the overview, or put them in story mode and put them together, like stitch them into, let's say I want to put the run and then the jump, you need to have them baked on the control rig. Okay, so we need to bake the information or the keys from the joints to the control rig. How do we do this? Is we go through the character button. This is called the blue button. If you keep hearing me say blue button, this is the blue character button. So we select the character. We make sure we only have one character. We select it, and you go blue button, bake to control rig, and we choose the three options, the three dots. This is the options that's in like a little Maya box. In Maya, there's always the options with the little box. This is the equivalent. So bake, control rig, options. And you're probably going to have key reducer on. I would just tick it off. And since we have three takes, you have the t-pose, the run, and the jump, you want to bake all at the same time. Okay, you don't want to keep switching to skeleton, then back to bake to control rig, switch to skeleton, back to control rig. You just need to check this one on. Plot all takes. So what it will do, it will go through all the takes and bake them to the control rig. Okay? And keep everything on by default. It's okay. So just change the constant key reducer, take it off, and check the plot all takes. So now, what do we got? We got the T-pose, we got the run, and we got the jump baked on the control rig. Okay, I'm gonna stop here and save. We'll continue next week with this. So now you can be able to save these actions and put them in a story, which is like 2 weeks from now. Cool? Okay, that's it. Save your scene and upload it. So we just did one character with control rig activated and 2 takes of motion applied to the control rig. That's all it is for this week. Cool. All right. See you in class.